Okay, guys, I have a message, which I'm just gonna clear this space right now because I'm hearing so many people are in fear right now, and it's interesting. Yeah. Okay. So I was asked by a friend that I have here on TikTok, but I've actually had a few others reach out as well. They were asking about why they cannot hear their guides right now. Okay. And there's a lot of different ways we could answer that question, but I want to tell you what my guides said, okay, in general about all of us. And ultimately, I'm making a note. Okay. All right. So I want to talk about what ultimately is at the root of this feeling that we constantly need to know. Okay. All right. So yes, the way that our guides communicate with us changes. It changes as we grow. Okay. Sometimes our guides will actually change too as we expand and grow. But in this instance, we're also cosmically changing. Excuse me one second. Sorry. We're cosmically changing. There's like every single aspect of what humanity thought was normal is being touched right now in some kind of way. Okay. So, what I would consider normal spiritual growth, or a normal change in guidance, or a normal change in abilities, would not even compare to what humanity is going through right now. Okay. Mass scale awakening, mass scale shifting, coming into the understanding of and working with the energy of sovereignty. Okay. 222 as I said this. All right. So I asked my guides, how can I best show this in a way that's helpful and productive and brings you comfort and also encourages you to continue to grow in different ways, okay, and understand why certain types of communication need to shift, and the good that can come from being uncomfortable in certain ways. And I did pull some cards on this, and I'm going to show them all to you, but they're, the one that hit me the most, okay, is this one. I'm going to read it to you. This is from Rebecca Campbell's deck. I love her decks. They're so beautiful. Very ethereal, all of them. Just very, I don't know, so special. So this deck is called Healing Waters, okay? And, so much of this energy right now is connected to water. So much of it, you guys. I'm having dreams about water, which I dream about water a lot, but I mean, this is getting very more, like I'm seeing underwater realms, okay, in my dreams. It's getting much more detailed, and very specific water beings are coming forward to guide us, okay? I think that's very relevant, and it's a big, huge shift in our potential, okay? Think of water as being so vast, okay? So much more vast than we realize. So I wanted to pull out the water deck because I just feel like it's very relevant, and and this card came forward, okay? And it's called Follow the Stream, okay? And I just kind of want to read to you what she says because I think it's beautiful. So dedication, trust, and future rivers and oceans. Streams can begin as small trickles and end up as immense rivers and vast oceans. They've been providing humanity with sustenance since we first appeared on this planet. Follow the stream and trust that one day it will carry you to the rivers and oceans of your future. You're being called to surrender to the current of the waters that you're in, to trust the path you're walking, and to keep showing up day after day to what you're building. What might seem like a small trickle right now holds the promise of becoming a river or ocean in the world. Keep putting one foot in front of the other and trust your path. This is a card of trust. You may not be able to see the future outcome, or perhaps you're not quite sure how to get to where you're going. On the journey, there will be many steps that require faith. This may be one of them. You're being encouraged to find that faith, to keep facing your true north, to follow the stream and let it carry you. So commit to your passions and be dedicated to what you're creating. Keep showing up day after day after day. If you do, before you know it, you'll have created something huge simply by showing up in small, consistent ways. And then she asked a really profound question. If you trusted the path, your path, what would you do? Okay. Which leads me to what Spirit said. Okay. So the act of or constantly feeling like we need to know, which is completely understandable, you guys. But it is rooted in fear. Okay. And this is essentially what they showed, that when we are used to receiving information a certain way with our guides, which is not wrong, okay, but it's what we're comfortable with, and that door closes for some reason. Do we trust the path? First of all, if we trust our path, how do we follow it? Excuse me one second. Sorry, my little one was making noise. If we trust the path, and we trust our guides, when they close a door, okay, do we know that it's for a reason? Do we trust that it's for a reason? Okay. So I'm going to give you kind of like two sides to this. There's always two sides, you guys, when we're growing spiritually, always. Okay. One is that we are in the middle of frequency battle. Okay. All kinds of frequency interruption, alignment, interruption, alignment, toggling back and forth. Earth is flaring, sun is flaring, we're flaring. All this is going on. 7:22 as I say this. That's my Mary Magdalene talking. So if you were in the middle of this, and we are, okay, and your higher guides know this, they know the channels are being tampered with. And let's say you normally receive communication through telepathy. Can you see why they might say, not right now. We need you to do more. We need you to go deeper. We need you to get this a different way. Okay. So there's that. There's one thing. Okay. But the other thing is this, when you go back to what my guide said about fear and how fear fuels this desire that we constantly need to know every single detail. Or it's like no different than in a relationship where there's that person that always have to talk to the other person and they can't have time alone and they don't know how to be separate, right? It's like a form of codependency. And I'm saying this with love. We've all had these moments of just wanting to know. I've had this too, you guys. But if we trust the path and we understand that we really have been sent here to co-create the new earth and that we truly are extremely powerful beings and that implanted within us in our very core, our DNA structure, the atomic energy that we are, is all the information that we need. Can you see the wisdom and why God did it this way? That he knew and that Mother knew that these battles would occur, okay? That there would be a battle for your mind, that there would be a battle for your light language, that there would be a battle for all the portals of your body, that they would inflict pain, that they would inflict disturbing thoughts, that they would inflict anything they can to try to stop you from being the light that you are. So in God's wisdom, there is more than one way to communicate. Many ways, in fact, okay? Now, that being said, the overarching message they gave me is really good, okay? So I want to show you these cards. All right, so this deck, just in case anybody wants it, because it's also very beautiful, is an Arcana deck. And I say Folia, but I guess if there's another way to say it, you guys, it's a beautiful kind of just nature arcana, but also how to work in symbiosis with Mother Earth to achieve our goals, okay? All right, so the first thing that came up was abundance, 33, okay? And, you know, it carries the message of financial security, which is a big one for a lot of people right now, I know, because a lot of people are dealing with financial challenges, but that's not, you know, when I read the card, what stood out to me was the very last sentence on the page for this particular message, okay? And it said, this card can also indicate receiving an award or winning a competition, okay? So for me, for you guys and all of us, this tells me we are winning, okay? And as we make progress through all of this energetic stuff, it is going to pivot and change and flow how we go, okay, and how we communicate. Okay, and the second one that came up was information, paying attention to details, okay? And this kind of brings about like checking the facts. This is, to me, carrying the message of ignore the propaganda, okay? So we are winning. Ignore the propaganda. There's wisdom in silence when it happens. Yeah, I feel Mother Mary talking right now. You know, in spiritual training, silence and darkness, and even the message I made before this one last week about being in the room by yourself, there's wisdom in this, okay? Sitting with self develops your character, it develops your self-reliance, your strength, your ability to navigate through darkness. Okay? Super important right now. Okay? So that being said, one second. Okay, sorry. That being said, when Spirit is telling us we're winning, okay, we're receiving an award here, pay attention to the truth. That's what this message was in this card. Pay attention to the details. Get your facts straight, okay? Ignore the propaganda. Then the third card that came up in this message was let go of what no longer serves you. Cutting the cords, you guys. And it even emphasized boundaries in this card. Be clear about what you will accept and do not let others take on the important role of choosing for you, okay? Now, if you are here as a pillar of light, as a co-creator of New Earth, as an embodiment of wisdom, as a daughter of Sophia or son of Sophia, then hidden within you are the truths that you need. And constantly going outside yourself for those truths hands your power over. And while these guides are not bad, they actually love us and they're helping us. You didn't come here to be codependent. You came here embodying wisdom. 1313, as I said that. You came here to create what is your truest heart's desire. Okay? The fourth card that comes up, success. Which we are certainly all ready for, aren't we? And it gives a lot of different messages in this. But you will achieve success is the ultimate message in professional and personal life. It says, in your private life, you are building a fulfilling and joyful existence, okay? But it will require measured actions and personal growth, okay? And, yeah, this says so many important things in this one. As you climb the ladder towards your goals, you will have to overcome fears that you never knew you had. You will learn to enjoy being seen and valued, and the heights will no longer feel daunting. This card indicates that you will achieve success in both your professional and personal life and in your private life, okay? And I feel like, as weird and chaotic as this time is for so many, energetically, I feel like the last few years were harder than this, for me anyway. That feeling of, like it just said, climbing a mountain, like you're trying to scale a mountain. I feel like I've been doing that for years. Now listen, I went through an early awakening. I know I did. And it was hard and brutal and rough. And I know that that's what a lot of humanity is feeling right now. That's why my heart is with you guys. And I'm constantly feeling my guides urge me to put these little messages together, even if it just helps a few. I want you to know that you are precious and you are loved, and even those few are so precious to God, and so are all, okay? But I feel like, we each kind of have our little circles that God has us working in and helping with, and if we all do our part and help each other, we'll get through this, okay? But I feel like much of humanity is beginning to feel what I have felt for years, okay? And this is why it's really important for us to be okay with our guides shifting how they communicate, pushing us to grow, flexing our other abilities, working with those other abilities. And sorry, they're trying to show me this card for you. And just trusting that when they close a door, it's for your safety or your development, okay? And right now I'm feeling both, because it's very easy for telepathic communication to be tampered with, okay? When you're in the middle of all this frequency change, okay? I do feel like we're very near that not being a problem, okay? But that's just where we are at this time. And so I feel it's super important to get really close to nature, okay? Nature is already operating in collective consciousness, which is our goal for humanity, okay? And for awakened, enlightened humanity. And so the idea is for us to really develop the oneness and what it means to be in oneness, okay? To be an individual, yet also live in oneness, and to seek the good of all, not just one, okay? So it's its own mastery. And nature already has that collective awareness, okay? So they are our guides right now, okay? If we were to pinpoint, specific guides. And elementally, whether you connect with water or earth or wind or all the elements, they can all teach you, okay? And of course, all our little, pets and, nature beings that live in the trees and on the ground and just everywhere. I have been getting so many messages from even the tiniest little beings, you guys, like out in my garden meditating, and a little, I don't even remember, I think it was a beetle, like landed on my hand, and it had this whole profound message. So like, there's so much magic and wonder all around us and within us. And so we're really being encouraged to start to find out inside of us what we came here to create. What kinds of changes do you want to make in the community? Okay. It's one thing to expose the lies and expose all of the darkness, which is an important work. It is another thing, though, to create the light. Okay. And that is like taking the next step. Okay. So think of like, my guides are showing me like this business that my husband and I have with water filtration, okay? For years, I taught classes on how to clean water, why it was important to clean water, why structured water is so important, why activated hydrogen is so important for your health. And that's an important work, exposing toxicity, exposing what causes chronic disease, all of that. I did that for years, you guys. But the next step would be living in symbiosis with clean water, okay? And moving into the positive side of that. And even though I know it doesn't necessarily look like we're there yet, for those who are here to be the pillars of light, you must start living like it's already happened. This is how we're going to make it happen, okay? This is why my guides have said so many times, don't watch the news, don't pay attention to the propaganda, do not fear anything. None of this stuff matters. This is going with the wind, okay? Like, goodbye, bye. They're all gonna handle themselves, okay? You're here to create something beautiful for yourself and then for others, okay? And so I just feel, even from my own life, if it, they're showing me like when I had to go back to college, re-educate myself, get a new license, start my career over. I mean, this was like 20 years ago. liberate myself from the first marriage just changed everything. I changed everything in my life, okay? And it led to my greatest happiness, okay? Sometimes that's where we are, even in the midst of all this cosmic stuff going on and all the external things being changed. Sometimes the very most important thing right now can still be what's going on in your personal life. 2020, as I said that, okay? No matter how crazy the situation looks or how important your mission is, sometimes the very best you can do is self-care. And I'm being reminded of a moment that I had right after my divorce from my first husband. And I was a minister for years, you guys. I mean, most of my life, very studious, studied the Bible like a theologian. I taught Bible classes, and I loved that work, by the way. I loved it. But it was very grueling, lots of hours, lots of time, and I did it with a full-time job as well. And I did it as a volunteer, so I never charged for that. And it was a good foundation for where I am now, as difficult as it was, okay? But I'll never forget, it was like maybe a few months after I left my first husband. I'm on my own. I'm working through all the stuff, going to therapy, dealing with healing, really, from being with a narcissist and being put through so much mental and psychological abuse, okay? And spiritual abuse. Anyway, I was walking down the street with this, I can't even remember her name. She was a woman from the church that I went to years ago. I mean, I didn't know her that well, but we were actually out with our Bibles, teaching people like stuff from the Bible. And I was walking with her and she was talking, but I couldn't even really hear anything she was saying. I think at the time it was my angel guide talking, but I didn't realize it. And I just had this thought, I cannot help another person until I help myself. Because I was so broken from the situation that I had gone through with the first husband. And I said, that's it, I'm done, I gotta leave. And I was like, I love you, I love humanity, but I have to heal myself. And I feel like that's where a lot of people are right now, okay? That moment that I had, 22 as I'm saying this, of loving everyone, of wanting the best for them, of having sacrificed most of my youth teaching and loving them and nurturing them and ministering to them. I then had to stop and go home and heal so that I could carry on, right? And I think that's where humanity is right now, where they're just in this place of understanding it's a mess, seeing the chaos, knowing it needs to change, knowing every single person on this planet needs help right now, but you will not be able to help them if you don't self-care. I can't say it any better than the way Spirit is saying it. That's what they're saying. Sit down, breathe, go talk to a tree, eat good food if you can, if you have access to this. Get a good glass of water, pray with the water, and then receive its healing. And do it again and again and again and again, like the card said. These little bitty moments that seem like nothing, they are your story. They are building the blocks of your dream, okay? And your dream matters, and your dream influences the grid here, the structure here. Without you doing anything else other than caring for yourself, you will change everything here, okay? And the way my guides are showing this to me is they're showing me like crystalline, like the inside of a crystalline mountain, okay? And how information is imprinted this way, right? How we store and retrieve information through crystals. And I do not remember the name of the process, but there is an actual scientific term for this, but essentially all hard mineral formations can take on memory, okay? And that being said, just your very presence in this realm is like a song, like a frequency being sung, influencing the tides, the earth, the wind, the flame. Like your very song is influencing all of it. So you being the healthiest you can be, mentally, spiritually, physically, in this moment, even if it means really doing just the minimal outside of yourself, okay? If you have to still work an outside job, do it, come home and start self-caring every day. What can you do to self-care? Okay. For some of you, this is going to have to require moving on from your situations. If you have a spouse, for example, that is abusive to you, or that is constantly taking your peace, essentially, you may have to look at, can I stay in this situation? That's what I had to look at in the first marriage. It was destroying me. It was harming me. Okay. So I had to liberate myself from it. As you liberate yourself, okay, you set an example to others to do the same. This is how we liberate humanity. By liberating ourselves, okay? I feel so much love coming from my guides for all of you. So much love. They love you so much. Okay, I want to show you the next part of this because I felt like we needed a unicorn. I feel like everybody's been through hell. And we're all like, and we need some hope, okay? And the unicorns are so powerful and they're full of hope and promise, okay? So I pulled 3 of my unicorn cards. They're so freaking awesome. The first one is magic. Look how gorgeous. Look at this. With all that rainbow light and the fairies. And it says, make a wish, believe in miracles. Magic surrounds you, okay? This card, of course, carries the energy of believe that it's possible for things to get better. Don't worry about what it looks like right now. I can guarantee you what my life looked like in that first marriage is not what it is now. And I didn't know what good was coming for me. I didn't know God's plans for me. I didn't know the blessings coming for me. I just knew I had to save myself. Okay? So let my example help you if it can. Okay? That focus on yourself. Focus on your self-care. This doesn't mean that you don't care about everybody else. It just means that you know that if you don't put your oxygen mask on right now, you won't be able to help the guy in the next seat. Okay? Please, self-care. Courage. You are safe. Look how beautiful. I love this one so much. You can just tell that the 2 souls are one, that they love each other so much. You're safe. Fear is an illusion. Set strong boundaries. Okay? A lot of people really need to feel safe right now. And yeah, they're saying yes. Because we're programmed to fear death. Remember that. So even in death, what does Christ tell us? None are dead in Christ. All are alive. Death is not even true. It's not real. Okay. So when you think of the collectives like the Maya, okay, or Lemuria, or, any collective consciousness of beings that are assisting humanity, our dragon guides, the unicorns, they have crossed over many times. And those of us who remember many of our past lives have seen this with ourselves, okay? So, to me, when you face that and you recognize that it really is an illusion, something that we kind of put on ourselves sometimes, it helps you kind of start dissolving those fears. And we're all doing this together, you guys. I have my things that I have to do and deal with too, okay? But I'm really feeling magical potential when we symbiotically move with the garden, okay? I'm feeling like you need to move with the garden. She's leading this, okay? That Gaia green life energy is super important right now. And have courage and just believe that really good things are happening. And we don't have to see or know everything to get through this. Can we be like a river? Can we just flow? Okay? And gentleness. Look at this. Look how beautiful. Gentleness. I love this one so much. So much. It says, be kind to yourself and others. Honor your gentleness. Speak words of love. Yeah. And this reminds me of something my guides have always said to me. When in doubt, just love. If you're not sure about information, if you're not sure what's coming through, if your channel doesn't feel clear, if you're used to light language, or if you're used to light language through the body, or if you're used to telepathic communication, or however you're used to getting your information from your guides, if that doesn't seem clear at any given moment, love is always the way. Self-love and others, okay? Remember, Buddha told us if our compassion does not include us, then it is incomplete. It must also be for us. So if it's not in alignment with self-love and love of our neighbor, in the case of like family, our nearest neighbors, okay, then it's not in alignment. Now, when family interferes with self-love, then we might need to look at that situation and pivot, okay? And you can pivot in a way that doesn't harm anyone by creating your own life, okay? So, I feel like Spirit is saying, you have to make your own decisions. 30-30, as I said that. I cannot make decisions for you. All I can tell you is that when I've chosen to love myself and to believe in myself and to pivot, even when I didn't know what was going to happen, it has always somehow worked out. Okay? And yeah. They're singing a song. I don't know the name of the song, but they're saying started from the bottom. And they're kind of talking about like my childhood. So I feel like someone watching this has really struggled and they have come up from nothing. Okay. Maybe all of us. And yeah, that's going to be changing. We are coming into a great season of abundance for the pillars of light for humanity, for the ones who love Mother Earth, our beautiful mother, and the divine feminine, and all of humanity and her children. Yeah, they're just talking about the path of love leads to all the things you're dreaming of, to paradise, okay? And I'm being told to show this ocean jasper. Look how beautiful. So beautiful. It's like the palm stone size. I love it. It's so beautiful. And they're just really wanting you to ask for your nature guides, okay? Even though I know a lot of us have extraterrestrial guides, and that's can be very normal and like normal communication for you. But if you're not getting clear messages this way, pivot, okay? And trust that the reason why your guides are not allowing it is either for your protection or your growth, okay? I want to show you the unicorn deck in case anyone wants to get this one. Look how beautiful. So pretty. Cordelia Brabs. I have 2 unicorn decks. I love them both. And they're energetically, they're different, but they're both special to me and sacred. So is there anything else that you want to tell them? Hold on, you guys. Okay, there was one more card and it came up twice because I asked twice. And this one is called Night Fairies. Okay. And it has, it does carry like a deeper, heavier energy. I do love it though. Very similar to my, my archetype deck. I've shown you guys this one before. Love this one so much. This one. Okay. So I don't use it all the time. My energy is very high frequency, as some of you know, but it is good. Okay. And it's good to understand our darkness. Okay. But I like this because it says, this card is a reminder, okay? Because she's bringing her jack-o'-lantern, okay? This card is a reminder that the flame of the soul lives within us all. In the most remote and distant realm of the night fairies, she asks us to play in the dark and confront our fears. Coming in from the cold, light in the darkness, dying for rebirth, purging by fire. So, yeah, it says it's a reminder to persist even in harsh circumstances. I feel like this is so important. Visualize the flame as it beckons you to be your wisest. In this meditative space, consider how can you confront and ultimately defeat your fears. The affirmation is, I am a light in dark times and a wise witch for all seasons, okay? And so I know that's a trigger word for some people, but to be that ancient word in ancient, like Old English meant wise. It did not mean the dark connotation that has been put upon it. It meant that you were the wise of your village. And so You are here to be the light, the wisdom, okay, in a dark time. And it says, when things get scary, remember that you're at home within yourself, inside yourself. Your flame is what lights up the dark, okay? It says, make peace with the more morbid side of life. When the time is right, it can be very fun to play in the dark. So it's kind of like that I'm feeling, I've been feeling it kind of a lot this week, that dark feminine energy that isn't afraid of the dark, okay? And that understands that from dark matter, all life is created, okay? So it's kind of like, instead of letting this season of shifting and changing and what feels like silence from your guides and being pushed to grow again, instead of letting it freak us out, okay? Sit in the dark for a little bit. See what happens, okay? And I'm literally seeing like a kid shutting themselves in the bathroom. When we were kids, you know, we used to do that and see who could sit there the longest in the dark. And of course you get all freaked out, right? But do we have to get freaked out? Was anything happening? No, okay? So it was kind of like, it's kind of like my guide's way of saying, yeah, like, don't freak out. Everything's going to be okay. Do you trust that there is a plan for you? And then there is a plan for us all, okay? And I love that because I know it's not easy. It's not, you guys. And I'm saying this as a person who's overcome great adversity in life and many hardships. And I've had to carry myself through so many things. And I know it's hard, okay? But there's a plan, okay? And there's a reason and there's wisdom when we're being encouraged to sit with self and work on what we came here to create. And it may require change, and it may require little steps, little baby steps, or big steps, okay? But that's our focus right now. We cannot control what's going on outside of us. That's not your circle that you're dancing in, okay? Dance within your own circle, you know? Work in that space. And then just trust that it's going to bring about the great ocean that it leads to. Does that make sense? Which is for all, the great all. And I do feel we're energetically on the cusp of a really big change. I know I'm not the only one that feels that, and I know everybody's said it for a long, long time, but I do think this is different than before. And yeah, we can do it, you guys, but it's going to require that you be okay with self. I mean, think about this for a second, okay? Let me just give you a scenario. And this is not because my guides have said this, so this is an example, okay? But when you're talking about like power outages, for example, okay? Well, so if that happens and you're not in communication with anyone and you can't interact and you can't do the things that you normally would do, how comfortable are you with just being you and being yourself? How well do you function without any external contact, okay? And I'm not saying that's going to happen. That's not even what my guides are saying, but they're using that as an example of how it's a good exercise when they give us a little bit of silence or when they give us a little bit of, kind of pulling back and letting us sit with self. It helps us develop. But beyond that, I do feel the other reason they are doing this to some right now is for your protection and also for clarity in your channel, okay? And because of all the shifts and frequencies going on right now, making sure that we're getting a good, clear channel is of utmost importance because your guides love you. Your ancestors love you, okay? God loves you. And so there is a plan in play that's going to help us make progress and grow while keeping us safe and doing their very utmost to develop us, without it being harmful. Does that make sense? So I'm asking them is there anything else? That's it. Okay. I hope this message helps and makes sense. I love you guys so much. Keep going, okay? Keep going and trust that you are loved and that you can do this and that you have more ability within you. I feel like a big revealing of your other abilities is coming, okay? And other ways for you to grow, heal, and communicate with guides. So I feel so much good coming. And I'm being reminded of this scripture in the Old Testament. And I don't know, if I find it, I'll put it in the notes. But it just says God's loyal love, which in some translations means loving kindness, chases you, pursues you. And essentially the meaning of the scripture is that God is chasing you to give you love. Isn't that cool? And so you are being pursued by love, literally. And so while it may feel like we're in the desert right now and you just need a drop of water, go to the well within you, the waters that never dry up. Remember what Jesus said, that he will show you a river that never dries up. You will never thirst again. Okay? Go inward. Find the wells within you. Okay? The wells, the whys. Okay? It's there. It's encoded within you. This is what we're bringing forth right now. This is what we're birthing. I love you guys so much.